All right, we are on air. Happy Thursday, January 26th, everybody. I am going to see if I can figure out how to share this agenda without accidentally logging out of the Hangout like I did in the last meeting. Okay, here we go. Screen share. Agenda, start. Hey, next week I'll do that before I start the podcast. All right, so we don't have any updates from the PMC this week, but we do have one item that needs a vote where we should have an update next week, and I'll send out an email to everyone on the PMC after this meeting to remind everyone. But it's around policies for pro bono work. So if people want to donate work to Backdrop, if we're going to have any policies about that. Backdrop outreach meeting we just had, we reviewed the newsletter provided by Facet Interactive. If you're interested in watching us review it, you can watch the video. That's not super exciting. We do have, let's see if I have a link to that I can just throw in here. No, I don't have it open anymore. Maybe if you have it open, you can add to the agenda. But we did a little cleanup, and I think it's pretty much ready to go. So that's exciting. As soon as we push 161, we'll be able to push the newsletter too. Backdropcms.org, we have a new homepage. We got our design finally finalized. So we got stuck because the version that Wes had been working on had a couple of blockers where we needed a homepage hero. And we finally got this from a designer. And so I think we're ready now. We just need to have it implemented. So if we have anyone who is interested in updating our current theme or working on Wes's new branch, we would love volunteers there. Forum module, I think we made a lot of progress last week, which is great. We took the discussion offline after our weekly Backdrop meeting, and I think we have clearly outlined some next steps. Since that meeting, I created a Backdrop forum repository under the Backdrop ops group, and there, most importantly, there's an issue queue there, so we can continue to work on items that need to happen for the forum in that queue and take them out of the backdropcms.org queue. Next steps, we have to decide on technical implementation details, and anyone who wants to help weigh in on comparisons of using the forum module or just using parts of Backdrop core, we could use help weighing in on that. Translation server, this is new. We haven't talked about it yet in this meeting. My dog wants to talk about the translation server, apparently. Originally, we decided we would just use Drupal.org's translation server because our strings, when we originally released Backdrop 1.0, were very similar to those that were in Drupal 7. We've added a bunch of stuff, in particular views module, that makes that not really viable. And so we're now at the point where we need our own translation server where we can include Backdrop specific translations. And today, after this meeting, I would like to take that discussion into more detail. So if you can stick around at the conclusion of running through this agenda, we'll stop the live broadcast and kind of get deeper into how to do that, where to do that, who's going to do that, kind of just next steps on getting that going. Olaf, because you're here today, I don't know if you want to weigh in on that at all now, or if you just want to wait and participate in the discussion later, but you were the one that brought it to our attention, so I wanted to give you a chance to talk about it if you wanted to.
Sorry, I didn't get it. Should I say something or?
You're not necessary. I just thought if you wanted to say something, you could. But I'm really glad you're here to participate in the longer conversation we're having later. So if you don't want to say anything now, you can also wait and we'll talk about it at the end of the meeting.
Okay, fine.
Okay, great. So next is progress on Backdrop CMS itself. If Nate, you want to take that over.
Yeah, okay, let's see. So yeah, Backdrop 1.6 came out January 15th, as we all know. And in the meantime, we are hunting down any of the issues that are in the 1.6 release to get 1.61 prepped and out the door. We have a number of issues that have been discovered that we're working on correcting. There's 2 issues related to the new system settings form function that we've reinstated and started using. Those 2 issues are 2473 and 2478. I can't quite recall which forms are which. Let's see, one is the site information checkboxes are not saved after hitting the update block button. That doesn't sound like that's related. Well, anyway, that's a layouts issue. It looks like not a system settings form. And the other one is that the time zone default setting doesn't get saved. I'm going to split these out because it looks like they're separate issues. Saving issue. So 2473 is an issue with saving blocks, and 2478 is an issue with time zone settings not getting saved correctly. Both of which have pull requests, which is great, but both are in a needs work state. So it's great that we have some initial stabs at fixing each of those problems, but they need some work yet. The next item is we added entity view mode module, or basically we added its capabilities but did a rewrite of the user interface of entity view mode. But ultimately, the concept is the same, and so is the configuration. And so we have an issue at 2480 to provide an upgrade path from entity view mode, the contrib version of that module. I think that we missed that because many of us didn't even realize there was an entity view mode for Backdrop as of yet. So the nice thing is that that issue not only solves the problem for the contrib version of entity view mode for Backdrop, but also adds the upgrade path from Drupal 7's entity view mode. So people taking their Drupal 7 site and running it through update.php to get to a Backdrop website, it now also includes an upgrade path for entity view mode, which is great. We had Jack confirm that pull requests fixed the problem, plus my own manual testing. So that one has been marked RTBC, and we'll get that in shortly. Let's see, another item, apparently not a 1.6 issue, just a coincidence, basically, that newer versions of Firefox and Chrome have this problem with table drag, that the cursor gets or the row gets stuck to the cursor. And that issue is 2482. And we have a pull request that is a backport from Drupal 7.53, I think. So they had the same problem happen in the Drupal world, because this wasn't actually a problem that we introduced, but rather browsers changed and then introduced this problem. So, but it looks very likely that fix, which is currently in needs review state, should solve the problem, as it's already been corrected over in Drupal land as well. And then finally, related to the new update to normalize.css, multi-select items currently have a fixed height instead of being able to select multiple items. There's only one row of items now, which it looks like Jen has volunteered to take on, but it doesn't look like there's an issue tracked for it yet. That's it. Those are the items that are slated for 1.61. As soon as we knock those out, we will make the 1.61 release. And it's kind of important that we hurry through these bugs, because what we normally do, we usually have about a week's grace period, which it has now been about a week and a half since the release of 1.6. And then we like to release 1.61. And then at that time, we push all of the changes out to Pantheon and release the newsletter and basically tell everybody, hey, go download it. So basically a little, we usually kind of soft launch and then make a louder bit of noise a couple weeks later. So as soon as we get all those done, that's when the extensive noise making shall commence. That's it for the 1.6 release and the current things that are out there. Of course, as always, there are many, many issues that could be fixed at any time, both in user experience land as well as bugs. And as soon as those items are ready, we can merge them in any time, and it'll be in the next bug fix release. Next item. Is that somebody say something? No? Okay. Next up on the agenda is the 1.7 release. So 1.7, that's coming up a little ways from now in, wow, that seems so far away, in May. May 15th, 2017, roughly 4 months from now. And the contents of this release are still kind of being determined. But the one thing we know that we absolutely want for sure is the reference module, which has been bumped twice now, I think. And so the reference module exists as a contrib module today. You can download it and use it, and it works for the most part. But we have some serious challenges around moving it into core, one of which is that we have an upgrade path to deal with from the term reference that's built into taxonomy module, not to mention upgrade paths from contrib versions of other reference modules. So that could be quite a challenge, and we still have yet to actually make any headway in the upgrade path process, but it's one of those things that we probably need to be working on throughout this release, because if we get up towards the end again and then start working on it, we'll probably find that it's more challenging than we expect. And then it might not get into 1.7, which nobody would like. So, but we have lots of time at this point to get that thing completed, wrapped up, and ready for a release in May. Two items that are here in the agenda that are really exciting to me that are already in a needs review state are page element blocks, which allow us to place things like the title, tabs, let's see what else, title, tabs, oh, and messages, things like that, things that currently are hard-coded in the layout templates. This issue makes it so that you can place all those elements as blocks instead, kind of allowing for full page flexibility. That issue is 1704, and right now is in a needs review state, so it can use some additional sets of eyes. But I think that feature is actually really cool, and it's almost certainly going to be completed before 1.7, possibly as soon as the next couple of weeks. Also really cool, layout relationships is issue 2134. I personally haven't had a lot of time to look into this, but it's also in a state that needs review. And layout relationships would allow us to do incredibly powerful things like starting with a node page, join over to the author entity and pull out fields from the author. And then you could go from the author onto other things and so forth. That would be really cool in combination with reference module. Again, like these things kind of become exponentially more powerful as you combine them together. There's also other items that are slated for the 1.7 release. You can find them on GitHub by checking the 1.7.0 tag. It looks like there's already a good 30-some issues that are slated for 1.7 that could all potentially be in the next release. That's all I've got for the 1.6 and 1.7 updates. So that's it. You guys have any questions or anything you guys would like to bring up? Of those present? No? Okay, well, I guess that's it. Nice short meeting for everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and thank you guys, everybody, for watching. We will have a little after chat afterwards to kind of refine the agenda for next week. But that's it for the broadcast. So
wait. Also, everybody who is interested in talking about translation server or forum module, let's stick around.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And thanks again. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.